I don't know what the president thinks about Netflix at this point. I can't say. I do know that he looks favorably on Larry Ellison.
Yeah.
And that does get me to some new reporting, at least, on where things sort of stood before Warner Brothers Discovery made the decision to put itself up for sale, to see what else was out there, to at the very least create a record for shareholders and the board to stand behind if and when they do come back and say yes to Paramount. And frankly, given where Paramount was, I'm a bit surprised, perhaps, that they said no, because I had previously reported 22 to 24 would be sort of the range where they might end up, and they ended up very close to $24 a share, perhaps a little bit shy of it, from what I understand, based on people familiar with the situation, but very close to bidding 24 after starting at 19, making 3 separate bids, the last of which was this one very close to 24. 80% was cash, 20% was stock, and it was rejected. For the third time, they got rejected. You know, Jim, that was a big price. 24 for a board to say no, for a stock that came from 12, saying no to that, and then saying, well, we're going to generate a higher stock price with a split that's coming. Maybe, but you've got some very aggressive targets there. And if when I was doing reporting towards the beginning of sort of Paramount's wooing of Warner Brothers, and I said, what about 24 to a lot of people? They said, man, the board would be smart to accept that. Not the case. David Zaslav and John Malone, my understanding is, both were against, and the board unanimously decided to reject that. But as this process moves along, my question will be, A, is Netflix really there? Will our parent company, Comcast, come? More on that in a moment. And then could there be something unexpected? An Amazon? I think it's unlikely at this juncture. Apple?
No.
Microsoft?
Yeah.
So really Comcast, Netflix maybe, and then you probably come back to Paramount. But at least you can tell everybody, we looked, we tried to figure it out, and maybe you get it done at a bit higher than where they last ended.
Okay, my understanding is David Zaslav doesn't want anything less than 27.
Okay.
That there are other buyers out there who conceivably could be flushed out. We know that there are some companies that overpaid for different cable assets before.
Well, and by the way, there are companies that have always overpaid for Warner Brothers Discovery.
Exactly.
AOL. Although it was a great deal for them, actually, because they actually got monetized. So AT&T,
right,
and then conceivably as well, Discovery.
And you do have John Stanky on at 10.
I do. I'll ask John whether he's interested. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
But I do think that Zaslav is, look, he's firm. He's firm on this.
He is, but I'll tell you, 27, I don't know that anybody gets there. If they do, take it, of course. Netflix is in a position where, with their stock trading where it is, they could absolutely mount a bid that on the economics might make a lot of sense. On the antitrust, they might have to offer a decent amount on reverse break and things of that nature to make it worth taking the risk and the time that it would take. And then you come to Comcast, our parent company. And this is where, listen, everybody wants a higher stock price. Everybody is a shareholder. But you know what else? It also is helpful. It's helpful when an opportunity comes along and you want to potentially use your own stock to your advantage.
Correct.
Well, Comcast can't do that because its stock is below $30 a share. Now, it is under-levered versus Charter. It's around 2.5 times, I think. Charter's like 3.5 times. Charter did layoffs. You could lever up the balance sheet, but in doing so, are you going to depress the stock price even more? And then, of course, we come back to the president. And I don't know that there's much need to be said more than that, Carl. We know how President Trump feels about Brian Roberts, the only executive he really names, sort of name checks all the time.
He does in his posts.
That's tough.
And he has, of course, special nicknames for the company as well.
Now, it would be a DOJ.
It
would be a DOJ review, not FCC, because there's no change of control in NBC conceivably, and it would simply be about whether or not the union of Warner and Universal would represent anti-competitive. But the DOJ, they came after AT&T and Warner Brothers.
Right.
Remember that? Took them 2 years to get that done.
Yeah, that was.
You can go to court.
But play the long game. But I think Zaslav is right to hold out. I really do. Because I think that look, you just said, look, maybe Netflix is a buyer. You never know. Maybe Comcast is a buyer. Well, why not just say, listen, here's my price. What's the worst thing? They asked to eat crow and sell to 24?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I was an
Which, by the way,
when I was an
shareholder
auctioneer, you took it to 28, and then you about 24. It is a badge of dishonor. But then people forget.
And then you're doing a whole company deal, which is an easier deal to do than the one that we've been describing here, where you are still planning a spin, but the RemainCo is streaming in studio. You are getting some tax leakage, less than $1 a share, but some. Paramount will tell you we do the whole company. We are a lot better on the regulatory front because we're very close to the president, and that's going to go our way, and we can pay a very strong price. So that's what they would say, largely made up of cash. Again, 80% was the last bid in terms of its component of cash, 20% was stock. So, it may be they do come back to that, but you've got a record that says we tried. We tried. We looked at everywhere. We went everywhere.
The idea of getting to 27 without Paramount in there, that's a stretch. Very big stretch. Bridge too far, so to speak.
Perhaps a bridge too far.
Interesting, yeah. Limited number of participants or potential participants. I'm curious, though, in media in general, given all the other trades, AI, housing, energy, is that a place you are interested in playing right now?
Absolutely not. Look, because I want growth. And this is about market share and conceivably putting together some sort of like Citizen Kane-like product. I'm not there. I mean, look, we can talk about GE Vernova, which was down 10 points at one point, and the world's their oyster. So
yeah, agreed.
I don't want to. I want to be in GE Vernova, not.
By the way, Warner Brothers is going to play out over the next few weeks. Probably Thanksgiving to Christmas will be the key sort of time. So we'll be.
So we'll probably hear about it again.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Meantime, I don't know. I was going to talk about Amazon, but I know too small.